Well, hello everybody. How are ya? Good to see ya. Nothing's going on out there on Top Shot, is there? You know, as recently as yesterday morning, by the way, I made the thumbnail for this stream and it was like SoRare NBA drama. Like finally, I have something to talk about SoRare that isn't should you put this guy in your lineup or not. Then what happens? The wheels fall off. Everyone that says the sky is falling. But anyway, I only have Mike for a little bit of time, so let's bring him in. Let's give him good old fashioned spicy. Here we go.
Spicy.
It's an honor to come on for spicy. I feel like I haven't seen that in a while. It feels nice.
That's like a good old fashioned. It's a good
I like it.
We call it. So Mike, thank you for being here. You know, I thought we were going to talk about like a nice little calm little all-star weekend recap, but now I feel like we got to just jump right into the hard hitting,
the chaos
stuff. Yeah, there's chaos, and you've already done like 2 streams about this, so this is stream number 3, so apologies on that.
Oh no, you're good.
But yeah, I guess where do we even begin? How are you feeling now after you did that immediate stream with LG?
Yeah.
Okay, that was an excellent content move. I got to give it to you.
Thanks. It might not be good content, but I know when to do it. So that's been the strategy this whole time. Hey, first of all, this is like the first time I've seen you since congratulations. Also happy to see that you're out on the other side. I know it was a little hairy there for a little bit. So I hope you and the kiddo and the fam are doing good, man. But it's good to have you back in the streaming days, you know?
I appreciate that. Yes, it was definitely hairy. And now when I stream, it's like at the 1 hour mark, my wife's like, come on now, finish up. She's crying. Yeah. So yeah, it's changed the dynamic a little bit, but you're here and that's what's important.
That's what's important. Well, let's just for yesterday, man, I'll be honest, like I think the lawsuit thing is like, I think it's important and it's something we'll learn more about a year or 2 from now, right? Like I don't think there's going to be anything that we're getting like today or tomorrow from this, and I think it's probably like long-term good for all of this, right? Like some sense of clarity of like what's considered what is probably helpful. And I listen, selfishly, like some of the stuff that I've called them out on before, it seemed to have made its way into the paperwork, and that was a little like, yeah, good. You guys should be being held accountable for some of this stuff as well. But I don't know, like what was your reaction to seeing some of this? Like where to this specifically, I guess, because there was some other stuff today that I'm excited to yell about.
Well, I mean, I definitely created some uneasiness in the greater community. But yeah, I would agree with you that I think like first of all, the headline was completely wrong in the first place, which just
Right.
freaked everyone out, I should say. Then they adjusted the headline, and now it's like, well, they're going to have to do some discovery, and I think that also scares some people.
Yeah.
Like, what's that going to bring up? Like, what emails are about to be made public or whatever? But I also think that when you think about the size of the partnerships and all that kind of thing, like, I don't think this is going to be all the dirty laundry, Dapper's dirty laundry hanging out to dry. Like, I just don't think that's going to happen. I think there's too many like massive partners, the same way that, it's a correlation like Trump, right? Trump's in the news like every other week, like, oh, this is it. It's going to happen this time.
Right.
He's going to court. It's like, yeah, nothing ever happens. And I think that's kind of in a way, I feel like that's sort of the same vibe. The other thing I'd say though, but go ahead, Mike, go.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, I agree with you in the sense that like we're just not gonna learn anything anytime soon. I am fascinated. If it goes to Discovery, I do think that's gonna be pretty interesting. As a content side of things, I do kind of hope it does. Just because I would love to know. But I'm with you. I feel like who knows what the hell we're doing by the time this actually goes in front of a jury, if it does.
Yeah, and also, how are you really going to make that correlation? It's a bit of a stretch, because when you consider the comparison, right? Like, Top Shot's basically physical trading cards, like on the blockchain, more or less. And
Yeah.
sure, you can make certain arguments about control of supply and this and that, but I still think it's just a little too far of a leap. And it was obviously someone or some group of people who just got massively burned, just bought like the Pico top, as they say,
Right.
and had like, a brother-in-law who is a high-powered lawyer or something. That's kind of what I feel. The other thing that I thought was interesting, though, and I'm sure you saw it too, and I'm not even sure if we're supposed to be talking about confidential documents, but there was that confidential document that was shared.
Oh, like
Apparently,
the email.
yeah, apparently thanks to the Nine Lives Lounge, which I thought was surprising. I thought
That is surprising based on their
yeah.
usual behavior.
Yeah, and I actually had a question about the Nine Lives Lounge for you, but anyway, I'll get to that after this point. But what was sort of surprising to me, I don't know what the word is, but first of all, we had the 20% cut, which really sucked to see. A lot of the most people that are all over the Discords were let go. That definitely sucked to see. And the thing in that confidential document, the highlight was like, this is how much pack revenue we're making. This is, like, so that we all kind of knew it. And that was like the
Right.
quiet part out loud, which is like, calm down. Here's all the pack revenue. And I just thought that was interesting because it sort of cleared up some stuff that I think a lot of people probably thought. And now it was like, they're clear.
Yeah. It was like,
paper.
don't worry, these dummies are still buying packs. That's what it looked like to me. But yeah, that's what I saw. I always love the idea too of like confidential documents that we're sending via email, which I always think is like so funny. Like, yeah, good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Real quick though, man, the 20% stuff is a real bummer. And I know I don't really come from a startup background, and I know that this is like, I guess, pretty common to lose 40% of the workforce in a 4-month radius or whatever it is. So like, I guess that's pretty normal. I think and I talked about this morning a little bit. It always sucks in these moments. It sucks for everybody in these moments. Like the people that are still there, it sucks for because they lost coworkers, they lost friends. Not only that, instead of doing one job, well, some of them were already doing 2 jobs because of the first round. Now they're doing a 3rd job. So like there's more pressure on them. It sucks obviously for the people that are no longer working. And it's going to suck for the user because like if you thought communication was bad before, like, I mean, these are the people that we lost, the people that kept everyone at bay in the community. The ones that, like, I think a lot of us felt like we had solid rapport with were the ones that were gone. And that's how it always works, right? It's never, they were like, we'll get rid of 10 people who don't make as much as the one person that would actually probably make considerable change. So, and that's not unique to Dapper. That's not unique to Top Shot. I mean, that's like, in any industry, that's how they get rid of people. And like you see in the chat too, they're like, yeah, dude, it's actually pretty normal to get rid of everyone. Yeah. I mean, like I am aware of that. But I mean, listen, maybe I'm the minority too, in that like everyone else's user experience so far has been pretty good, and I'm just on an island over there.
Yeah, you're just fudding, Mike, and that's why I was gonna ask you, like, this was supposed to be a lighter stream. Like I was gonna ask you, like, so Mike, you're in Utah, and and SoRare sent you out, and I was curious about that too, like how that went down. They like went in the DMs, they were like, "You up?" question mark, and you were like,
Yeah, it was a lot of you ups, and I was
yeah.
like, "No, bitch." No, they had a couple of tickets. It wasn't like something that was planned well in advance. It wasn't like they were like, "Here's $5,000, get down there." They basically were like, "We have some tickets. Do you want to go out there?"
Mm,
And this is a week before, and so we
yeah.
kind of just made the decision of like, would the content be strong enough, like, is that worth what we're doing here to get out there? And it was an incredible experience, and it was cool to see them have a presence. Like, they didn't have an overwhelming presence, because I gave Top Shot a little bit of shit for not really having any presence there whatsoever. So Rare did, but not in the way that like I think any of us would like it to be as well. But at least they were like there. They were in media day. They were doing content with different players and stuff. So anyways, but it was I'm very grateful that they were interested in sending other content creators out there. They had Bryson, who's big in Web3 gaming. I'm sure people are familiar with him on Twitter. He was out there. There was a couple of 2K creators that were out there as well. Dustin and I were by far the oldest ones out there. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. But yeah, it looks like you guys had a great time.
It was a cool experience.
It was a cool video. It didn't. I got to give you my critical take. Your summer league video is still the magnum opus. Okay, maybe the next summer league video can top that one. But
Yeah,
it was still cool to see what you guys were up to.
the only difference, I'll first of all say Veronica did a fire edit with the content that she was given. The difference is like Veronica nor Greg were with us. So it was
Mm.
Dustin and I filming this stuff. So that was the real. Dustin did a great job too. I really was the one that was lacking. It was me. I'm the talent. You know what I'm saying? I'm the talent. You
Okay.
put me in front of the camera.
But anyway, my nine lives lounge comment
Yeah.
was like, during the last several weeks, you have become kind of the target of some of these groups, right? Some of these other cults. Like, we like to talk about the OnlyTans are a very benevolent cult, but
Yeah.
some of these other cults in Top Shot, like one such cult is a Nine Lives Lounge. You were sort of in their crosshairs. I've apparently been in their crosshairs too at one point, at least a couple users.
You made it.
Right, I felt good actually.
You made it.
And so I was wondering, like, if you were in Utah, were you ever sort of concerned that maybe there might be like some shadowy hooded figures behind you, and then like you turn around, all of a sudden there's a paper bag over your head, you
Like,
wake up, and then all of a sudden it's this.
I feel like that's the NLLDS.
I don't. What's the DS?
The LDS is it's like you know what? I'll just let you Google it. I'll Google
Oh.
Google LDS. It's part of like I believe it's part of the Mormon religion. It's like very like very old school. They're out in Salt Lake City.
Interesting. Oh, okay. Yes, the Mormons and
Yeah.
that's not the Scientologists though, but there's
No,
sort of
no,
a
no,
little
different.
bit of a link.
Different kind of something. No, if people need to be mad at somebody, they can be mad at somebody, and I'm happy to carry the torch for them. I'm glad they're talking about me. I think there's a misconception, and shout out my man Glenn on Twitter as well, who decided to like, it's so funny too. I don't see a lot of these replies until somebody I follow replies. And then all of a sudden the beast has been awoken because I'm seeing people come at me on Twitter. I think there's a misconception on like, they think that SoRare is paying for this beautiful 2-bedroom apartment in New York. They're not. I think I've yet to put a comma in my SoRare account. I think it's just hard for people to fathom that Top Shot sucks sometimes, and like it's hard to make content around them with the current not just the climate, but like what the product has become and the direction that they've gone. So I think the Nine Lives Lounge might have been mad because I was making fun of the Shengun thing for a little bit. Because I was like, oh, market manipulation, which like, who cares? I don't really care. I'm glad anybody's doing something, but whatever. Like, if people want to be mad about something, they can be mad about something. I obviously still want Top Shot to do well. I still am like, here, I'm on your fucking show. Like, I'm still
Exactly.
down.
What the hell are you doing?
I know, like,
The
like
point.
so. And the frustration at All-Star Weekend wasn't that my Top Shot bags are down. It's like, why aren't they there? Like, I've accepted your pivot to what you are now. And we now know why they don't call it the stock market of sports, the sports stock market anymore. That's clear. But if they're the future of fandom, I don't know. Just tell me what those fandom moments are throughout I just like, why aren't you there? Why aren't you there?
I 100% agree. Even at the very least, could have been like like a diorama at the science fair, and like you were talking about, people would have still showed up. People would have still done something.
There was a line for literally everything in that crossover event. Like there
Yeah,
was like it was stupid. It was stupid. But I don't know, whatever. I like if the Nine Lives Lounge wants to be mad, I think Connecting and Collecting was mad the other day. Like everybody's mad at some point. And look, guys, it's great if you don't have to just don't watch it. You know what I mean?
that's
Like
true.
go
That's true.
just go do other stuff. Get involved with another content creator. Pro Top Shot all the time, and that's all you want, hang out with Tandy. If you're the Nine Lives Lounge, I don't know what you guys do. Yeah, have somebody do a stream, right? Like go Connected and Collected. Go watch. You just don't tune in. But I think everybody instead this you want to get a little philosophical, a little deep right here.
Yeah,
Instead
let's
of
do it.
actually dealing with what's going on, we're like, oh, let's be mad at something insignificant that doesn't actually affect anything. Because if me saying, oh man, Top Shot's bumming me out right now is the reason everything sucks, it's too late anyways. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I hear that. I hear
All
that.
right,
And
here we
and
go.
and now we're lucky that we have we have a very positive cult now. Collecting and Collecting. Very
Mm.
positive cult right there.
And listen, good. More power to it. And I think there was confusion last night, apparently, in my replies that I was mad at them. I don't care. I don't care. I'm happy. Triticus, keep doing it, man. You found your thing. I love it. I love
I
it.
agree.
Top shots behind it. Keep going. You know what I'm saying? Do your own thing. I think it's a problem if there's only one community doing stuff, you know?
Agreed.
And so I
Agreed.
think the more the merrier.
And I think too, if you go back to what Michael Zakarian and friends were the content that so many of us were making in the beginning, and if the reason why so many creators have fallen off the wayside is because the speculation is what is so exciting. We're all a bunch of degenerates somewhere deep down in our beautiful hearts. And that's what was exciting. Mike used to have his show, The Morning Marketplace. Why? Because you're looking for the deals. You're looking where you could find an angle.
Yeah.
And now basically that's what you're doing on SoRare. You're saying, where can I find an angle? Where's something that people don't know about? And people tune into that because that's what people are interested in. If we all want to
Well,
just kind of
sorry.
kumbaya circle and do like a drum circle, then
Well,
we should have that too.
and for me, it was really cool to see a player's performance be like seeing how that impacts a market, right? Like if somebody's playing really well, is that impacted them in the marketplace the next day? And that to me, that's why the morning marketplace started. It's like, oh, Devin Booker dropped 40. No one's talking about Devin Booker. Did his moment go up a little bit? And that to me, that was interesting. Not even to say like go buy it, but it's like, oh wow, that's pretty fascinating. That stuff's gonna move like that. And so it's the
Yeah.
same. So rare, right? You see someone like really pop off, and you're like, wow, okay, he's moving a little bit. And I agree. I think it's been, I mean, like Tandy, I don't know how you do it. Like outside of just talking about what is frustrating and what
Yeah.
is setting with Top Shot, I don't know what content looks like on it. And I've asked people and they're like, oh, interview collectors. I'm like, you can't do that. That's fun every once in a while. I'm not going to have, oh, show me your favorite moment. You can't do that every day. That's fucking boring. Uh,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I don't know. And then if we're just being negative every time, then people are like, oh, you funny dude. But like, what do you want us to talk about? You want like
Yeah.
NBL today? Like, can we just talk about that for a
Yeah.
second?
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about MBL.
So NBL, I'm sorry. I'm just like ranting now, Tandy. Maybe it's because I knew I only had 25, 30
I
minutes.
know
I'm
we
just
got we
yelling.
gotta we gotta pack it in right now. I still want to ask you about the SoRare stuff, but real quick on
Yeah.
MBL. So for those who are unaware, MBL goes on this rant today on Twitter, saying that Dapper is playing Jesus. They're playing God, and that basically they randomized the serial this time, and this is the one where people basically had to put the most skin in the game. He said he locked up like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Lakers NFTs, Lakers Top Shot moments, and now he's all irritated because he thought that number one spot was his. What do you think about that, Mike?
Well, so this is the thing. I don't I don't give a shit about that. Like I don't care. I think anybody spending hundreds of thousands of dollars right now is out of their damn mind. But what I will say, this is what is frustrating. They have set the precedent with the dynamic duos
Right.
of being like, this is how we're going to do it. And if you're not going to do it that way, why not communicate that? And I thought about it, and this is going to get people mad at me again. I
Yeah.
thought about what's the one time that they have articulated how it was going to work ahead of time, both like the process and the prizes. And it was the metallic silver Phantom Edition challenge that then I bought a Run It backpack for $59 off the marketplace.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like the one time that they actually did it, they sold the rewards on the marketplace.
Was that the only time?
Tell me another time where like it was like clear. Like we found out about the dynamic duos afterwards, right? They're like, oh wait, you're doing the serials in order?
Mm.
You know, like it feels like every time. So and I don't know, maybe you've thought about this. What is the downside to being like, hey, we're not doing it this time ahead of time instead of telling them after it locks?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird decision. I think it's because I think they clearly haven't decided like how they want to do it yet. And then they're like, oh, well, whatever. We'll just we'll play it by ear. You don't really know what to expect. Collect what you love.
And you know what? You know what's fucked too is that like, and the way they communicate with us now are these like monthly, bi-monthly blog posts that they don't even have anybody to collect the questions from the Discord or Twitter anymore because all of those people were gone. Right? Like there's just no. This is the same shit. I'm doing the same. Attitude reflects leadership. You know, there you go. There you go. Yeah. It's the same thing every time. And again, I know everybody like PPE. I know he's just been chewing Blue Chew for the last 3 hours, getting ready to reply to MBL. I don't think this is about MBL. I don't think this is about whales. I think it's about being able to communicate. Do you know what I mean? Like if they had said, hey, it's going to be randomized because we took the feedback from the dynamic duos. We're going to do it random. Cool. We know the rules. But instead, and this has been, I mean, like they've done this with baller status, collector score, TSS. They set the rules. They change the rules.
Right.
How do you play that game?
You can't. It's too hard to play that game. And I think that's what endears people to SoRare, honestly, unfortunately, to the people who don't like SoRare.
Yeah.
Is that they keep it kind of simple. But however, that's a good
segue, baby. Professional host right there, Tandy.
Is that they updated their competition. So I actually have MBL, by the way, in the DMs. He wants to talk. So let's quickly talk about SoRare. Then we'll jump back. Maybe if you have to hop. If you don't have to hop, then you can be on here when MBL comes. If you do, you can leave, whatever you need to do.
I got 18 minutes. 18 minutes and I'm tapped out.
All right, so let's quickly talk SoRare. Then we'll bring in MBL. We'll talk to him for a couple minutes. But real quick, for SoRare, for those of you who don't know, they changed the way their challenges work, their competitions work. They now got some interesting names for things like Garage Hoops and Rec League and Tip Off and Pickup and all this kind of stuff. Just give us the quick and dirty, Mike. What does this mean? I think it seemed like the people that were most irritated about this were the people who were collecting common high tier moments.
Yeah. So I think overall, like great idea, poor execution. So one of the cool things, and I'll do this as fast as I can. They introduced Premier League, and I'm not really a big football fan, although big enough that I said football and not soccer. But I was like, let me dip my toes in a little bit. And they do this really cool thing where there's beginners. And so you can play with 4 commons and 1 limited card. So you don't have to, and if you own more than, I think it's 15 limiteds, you can't play in that. So it's basically like a beginner's contest, which I think is great. Then you can like level up where it's like 4 limited cards and 1 common. So it's basically like, you know who you're playing against. It's not like everybody in the same pool. It's a good way to like dip your toes in. I think that is what they were going for with the NBA. I think the execution is pretty bad. Like I wouldn't have taken this away. I think it really hurts people who are like just starting dip their toes in. Because if you own like 6 cards, they're like, okay, I guess you have to sell 1 in order to keep playing in some of these earlier contests. So I would have liked for them to have just added the progression without taking the other stuff away. Or I would have liked for them to do this at the beginning of the year, the beginning of the next season. Because I think like changing it I don't think it's as bad as I think overall this is pretty good, but I totally get and understand people's frustrations right now. If you're like, oh man, I was just starting to get into it and now you're like telling me to sell in order to play. So I hope that's like the cliff notes of it.
So then what do you suggest then the people that, because like someone like me, I bought a limited card in the beginning just to get my toes wet, just to see how it worked. But I'm such a bad DFS player that I never really went hard at it.
Yeah.
But I enjoy doing the free stuff. So I have a lot of really good free stuff, really good free common stuff. But someone like me, are there still like good options to play for someone who doesn't own limited stuff?
So yeah, you could still play the common stuff. I think what changes though is after I don't think you'll have as many opportunities to do like the common champion, where like if you could win a limited through the free thing. I think
Okay.
they're trying to like slowly incentivize you to wade into some deeper pools. But what's nice
Makes
about
sense.
that, right, is like the first time you do it, you're not playing against like me who has 80 limited cards to choose from, right? Like, anyone in this contest has somewhere between like 3 and 5.
All right. Well, we got our socks off right now, and we have
Yeah.
like a little kiddie pool under the desk. We are getting our feet very wet.
Well,
All
I was
right.
gonna Dr. Dunks, I was gonna say my dick wet, but I didn't think that was something relatable for you. So I wanted to
Oh
keep it with something you'd
boy.
understand.
Hoo ha. All right. Let's see. Let's give this to Dr. Dunks.
Stop it. Get some help.
All right. So we got MBL, and I know you got a few minutes. So why don't we
Yeah.
bring in MBL? Let's talk to him a little bit. Let's hear what he has to say. Let me get my 3-person set up here.
Oh
And
wow,
never
new
mind.
setup and everything.
It's
Let's
you know what?
go.
I can't find it fast enough, so I'm not gonna do it. But let's just give him a little. I think you should leave.
That is a good idea.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Oh, nice.
All right. So Mike, I know that you did not think this was a good idea the way they rolled out this new serial thing. Oh, you muted yourself.
Dapper stepped in. Dapper's playing God in the microphones too.
No, I would rephrase that I am perplexed and recurringly frustrated by the fact that Dapper doesn't set their rules in advance. And so we have people frustrated everywhere, including myself. I wouldn't say I expected or thought I was going to get the number one, but it's frustrating knowing that there are lots and lots of people out there who didn't know what was happening here. The people who bought the hot packs, who no longer have access to serials 1 to 30, who may have thought they did. The people who participated in dynamic duos, who put down a lot of money, lost a lot of assets to get to number 749 on the prayer that they might get number one, only for number one to be rugged from them. And just, why are we doing this? Why are we seeing it over and over and over again? And in this case, there's no scenario in which Dapper didn't make a decision understanding the impact of this. They're sitting there saying, we can do it completely random, 1 to 99, random 1 to 30, give number 1 to number 3 their exact order, give everyone their order, do a whole draft where number 1 gets first pick, whatever you want. But knowing that you aren't choosing number 1 to number 3 has a direct impact on someone after the contest closes. They should never set themselves up for that kind of scenario. Instead, set the rules in advance, so there's just no need to even have this discussion saying, did Dapper have ulterior motives? Why did they do this? When was this decision made? To what end are they just changing distribution methods over and over and over again? Is this a power thing? Is this a revenue thing? Like, what do they want? Why are they doing this? And in my case, the fact that they decided one arbitrary thing over another one was an extremely damaging and expensive thing for me today. And so that was the message trying to be conveyed. Some people hop onto the fact that, like, oh, you're just upset that you didn't get number one and you've made a lot of money, good for you, so nothing you say matters. But the larger point is, why don't they set rules and let us make informed buying and selling decisions? Like, it seems like they don't take it seriously that people are spending a lot of their money, whether it's $10,000, $100,000, or like $50. For a lot of people are spending meaningful money for them, and they're doing it basically on a prayer that Dapper chooses them to reward next.
I don't even understand, like, you know what? Maybe there is some sort of reason for them that it's like, we don't want to tell you till after it's locked. Like, maybe they have a thought process. Would love to know what it is, so that it doesn't cause people to be like, oh, it's to hurt somebody, it's to help somebody, right? Because it allows everybody to run with different theories. I'm not even saying that's what you're doing, because I totally get what you were saying, where it's just because it's the same thing I've been yelling about everything. Like, just what is the upside, or the other way, what is the downside of telling us ahead of time what the rules are for this? Like, stop. It's like we set rules for the game and then we change the rules. Like, it's just constant. It's constant. I don't understand why they can't let us know. And it can't be because they haven't thought about it, because this happened with dynamic duos. Like, everybody got mad about dynamic duos. We've had this same exact fucking scenario. And then it was like, and that wasn't even that long ago. That's this series.
I just fired off a little tweet at our favorite PPE for saying that I'm only complaining because it's number one, highlighting the exact issues as this that I went on a nice rant about in October 2022, saying, why are we doing this with dynamic duos? Who does this benefit? This creates a ton of uncertainty. It erodes trust. It's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And I mean, hopefully everyone's clear at this point that I've been pushing for better comms since literally 2020. But I mean, PPE will PPE. Still love him.
Yeah,
Man.
it's
Good man.
yeah.
Good man. Good man. Good man.
So would you have changed your strategy at all then? I assume you would if they had told us ahead of time that it will be totally randomized, the first 30 serials. Would you have just tried to eke into the top 30 and called it a day?
To rephrase what I've changed my strategy, if I knew the rules of the game, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Imagine knowing the rules. Like, and this again, I know some psycho Top Shot stands are going to be like, "Oh, fudding again. He'll go wherever he's paid." All I'm asking is to have an understanding of what the fuck we're doing. That's all. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I don't really even know what else to add here. I mean, what else are you hoping for? I mean, I think it's kind of obvious. You're hoping for clear communication ahead of time, especially with something this was like the moment of the, for who knows how many series. Like this is the record breaker LeBron moment. This could be the moment people are talking about for, I mean, decades if Top Shot is to be successful. I don't know. What else do we take from this? I'm not quite sure.
Look, I mean, they could have made 100,000 mints of this. They could have minted it to demand. They could have made it a common. They could have completely randomized it from 1 to 99. They could have gone reverse order of 99. Like whatever it is, just like let us make informed decisions and like stay relatively consistent. So like even if it's not fully informed, you can at least make an educated decision. And so what do we take from it? I don't know. That basically probably don't lock unless you know exactly what you're getting out of it. Like exactly, not like an unknown, questionable top 750 reward that maybe they give the number one cereal to a whale, maybe they don't. Just
Right.
like don't make decisions unless you know exactly what you're getting in return.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That's too crazy, NBL. We can't do that, man. We gotta put the blindfolds on, baby, and let's throw some darts.
No, that's fair, and I unfortunately that doesn't seem to be the way it's happened. So if people continue to put their trust and their funds, meanwhile that is not a consistent thing that's happening.
Man, guys, I gotta dip. I have to dip because I gotta get ready for the next thing. But NBL, I hear you. I feel like that's a DM you're gonna get. Hey, thank you for your tweet. We hear you. We look forward to making adjustments in the future to not. We'll do better. We will do better.
Oh, I've seen plenty of those already floating around from the Dapper squad. I'm like, thanks. Sorry to crash your stream.
No, it's fine.
Said Tandy's talking about it. I was like, all right, let me get my piece up there.
No, this is good. Tandy, I gotta dip though. Thanks for having me on, man. Good to have you back. Glad you and the fam are doing well. Congrats on the new babe.
All right, thank you. And go tune into Mike. He's going to talk about SoRare in an hour.
There you go. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Take care.
See you later.
Well, anyways,
you can boot me if you want. I know I just crashed. I'm happy to chat, but I don't know if you can.
I've got you here. You might as we can chat about some things. I mean, I feel like probably this is front and center though in your mind. I don't know if you're thinking about anything else that's going on. Did you have any other commentary on that confidential document that was shared? You as a businessman.
I thought it was like pretty vanilla, realistically. Rome didn't really put his neck out there too much. I think he tried to cite what he views as positive numbers to control the narrative.
Right.
I'm not a lawyer by trade, but I've tried to read some of the more educated threads on it, and I think it's probably not great for my personal case, but I think the case has more merit than I thought it did initially. I'll put it that way. Having read through it a little bit more and read some of the commentary on it, I think Roham did what he had to do, and the response, I don't know, there wasn't that much substance to chop through, to be honest. I think it's always interesting to look at revenue metrics with no context around expenses or any real breakdown of where the revenue is exactly coming from. We can probably have insight into that. You can solve for the 5% marketplace fees and pack drops. So, we can probably solve for that, but I don't have that much to take away from it. Anything from your perspective?
I mean, I mentioned it before. First of all, I was kind of surprised that the pack revenue number was as high as it was for 2022. I didn't realize that it was that high. I'm curious what that trend is going to look like for 2023. But yeah, that is obviously the main marker when it comes to these VC types, and that would make sense. I mean, they don't really care about all the nitty gritty details. They just want to see number go up. So yeah, that's not, I didn't have much beyond that. The other thing that they mentioned, which is sort of as an aside, they said they have 2 new major IPs, or not, I don't know if they said major, but they said IPs. I was curious what that could possibly be. Like what 2 IPs are missing from Dapper? And honestly, like I kind of feel the same way I felt when they introduced NFL, which is this is just more product, and I'm not exactly thrilled with that prospect. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it could be NHL. It could be, slap fighting. I don't know what it could be. Did you have any?
In a good way, to your credit, you've taken my 2 responses, which was one, I was going to say potentially NHL. 2 was going to be, is this a net positive? He promotes it to investors as a positive. And when NFL was first coming around, the general, I think, community sentiment and Dapper angle was that this brings in a lot of new collectors, some of whom may migrate to Top Shot and broader Flow ecosystem. And in reality, I think without having numbers to back it up, probably it's been much more of a dilutive thing where some Top Shot users have migrated to NFL all day, and it's, we haven't seen the overall user base increase at the level we would need to for that to be a net positive for Top Shot. So I don't know, it doesn't seem like a good thing. At some point, just the sheer mass of having NBA, NFL, NHL, and a bunch of other marquee brands maybe cracks Flow into this is the mainstream normie blockchain, and it is a net positive, but so far it hasn't played out like that.
Yeah, it does feel very early, as people like to say. And that I mean, I don't know how you felt, but when they announced like Doodles was coming to Flow, that also felt like, ooh, maybe this is the beginning of something. But even so, it feels very early. And also it kind of feels like the leagues, they sort of it's kind of like I'm trying to think of a correlation, but like they choose what partner to highlight sort of based on which way the wind is blowing, and like who makes them look good, who aligns best with what they're trying to do on that particular moment. And I mentioned this before, but when they were talking about SoRare recently, right, and they weren't talking about Top Shot, and so then the Top Shot people, the fans of Top Shot were like, why aren't they talking about Top Shot? Why are they talking about SoRare? And it's like, well, because SoRare perfectly aligned with what they're trying to do right now, which is expand into like France and Africa and stuff like that. So, yeah, again, though, the big missing piece is you got to have a whole lot more people. And I don't know how you get a whole lot more people until like both sides are perfectly aligned. Like both sides have to be aligned. Like NBA maybe isn't going to want you to throw tens of millions of dollars at ads if they're not on board, and if that's not aligning with like what they want as well. So yeah, I don't know if you ever think about that, like where can this go marketing wise? And that was also, by the way, I talked about this last week, but I was under the impression that, the Janie, who's now apparently departed, told me that it was going to be like 50 to 60 million in marketing spend. And then someone said that maybe that's not the case. So I don't know if you ever brainstorm about marketing at all.
I'm writing little notes because you're saying a lot of interesting stuff, and I'm going to forget to respond to half of it. So far, I wrote 2 words in my notes.
Okay.
So one of them was Doodles. So I think the Doodles drop and just subsequent activity, I think, is a really interesting test for Flow. And a lot of people are probably watching, a lot of groups are probably watching. Is there enough of a user base on Flow already? Will Ethereum and other chain users migrate to Flow, or do they just rule out Flow as a concept? Doodles stated that their objective was to reach mainstream. Does this actually help them reach mainstream, or just helps them reach Top Shot purists who have just stayed on Flow? And is that even mainstream at this point? We're talking about 5,000 to 10,000 active people, maybe a little bit more than that. Is that enough to make a difference? And is there enough of a reason for some other collection to look at this and say, that was a really, really good idea, we want to do something similar to that? And NFT world, like most other things, is a copycat world. And so if it works really, really well, I think we will see other collections doing something similar to that. And so I think that Doodles, an existing NFT company and platform coming to Flow, is a really exciting concept. I think it's a big test. If they don't feel like it was a success and don't execute the way they thought they could, and it doesn't work out, that's another kind of indictment on Flow as a blockchain, and makes it seem even more so that it's a Top Shot and Dapper sports chain, not a traditional blockchain. So I think that's important. We're keeping a close eye on it at Floaty to see what we can do and how things may evolve. On the marketing side of things, my view has always been on this, that if you look at even Top Shot as an example itself, the best marketing that ever happened was prices going up. The product sucked, the marketplace sucked. No one knew what NFTs were at all, and yet, despite all that, I think someone posted something 2 days ago saying this is the 2-year anniversary of a $45 million Top Shot marketplace day on February 21st, 2021. And so if you look at kind of that scenario and what led to that scenario, it was crazy price appreciation. And Dapper can't control prices like that, but they now have a 2-year track record of paying Kevin Durant, Patrick Mahomes, and Doris Burke, and like Tyrese Halliburton, a million people. Like really, like where do you go from here? You can't market more than that, really. Like sure, you can get like TV ads, which they've done also. They got into the dunk contest. Like people have seen Top Shot as a name. It's been all over media outlets, magazines, newspapers, TV, whatever else. And like just the mere mention of Top Shot hasn't yielded much results. Like I was laughing about it in a group chat today. If you look at Top Shot's of Dapper's overall marketing spend compared to their active users, their user acquisition cost is astronomical. And again, we look back, and when they weren't even doing any marketing at all, there were hundreds of thousands of users on the platform. And so my view for a while has been cut off basically all marketing and redirect all those funds that you would have spent on marketing on things like deposit bonuses and locking incentives and things that will lead to at a minimum a stable marketplace, even if it's not a rising marketplace. And then the best marketing they have is their user base are just foot soldiers telling their friends, telling their community members, telling the people they play basketball with, telling the people they golf with, whatever else, saying this is cool, this is fun, this is interesting. It's a better version of physical cards. And to me, that's the way to expand and do it in an organic way where people are bringing in other community members. And their marketing budget must be enormous. If you look at some of the names they have and the events they put on and things like that, it's just put it towards basically deposit $10,000, whatever it is. We will match that deposit if you lock the $10,000 of assets that you buy with your $10,000. Then we will match your deposit. The VIP team did that at one point, a similar sort of thing to that. Just commit all marketing dollars to that, and you'll get a ton of deposits, a ton of buying activity, a ton of locking activity. Prices will go up theoretically. And then people start telling their friends again, this is a new exciting thing. Oh, it's back. They fixed the economy. They resurrect their group chats that have been quiet for 2 years.
Yeah, as long as they just kind of keep that faucet of new moments in check, then that does sound like a nice idea. I don't want to put you on the spot, Mike, but it said that people are saying that the airdrops have been delivered and they want you to open it, but I would never stress you to do something like that. But apparently it's potentially in your account.
Should I just wait 5 minutes until someone else announces they got the number one, and then we can just move on?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
We can open it together. I'm happy to open it.
All right, if you want to do it, I would welcome it.
I think is this a bad idea?
We got to give him some good vibes.
Give me like 5 minutes to think about it.
Yeah, we'll give you 5 minutes to think about it. You might want to do it in a quiet, dark room. You might not want to do it with the chat. It's totally up to you. But let's see what people are saying. So Eric over here is saying it would have been funny to watch the LeBron James leaderboard if they announced it would go in numerical order. People fighting to drop down from 5 to 6 if they can't get one. That's true.
I was watching people jockey around. I was like, I wonder if people are going to try target 23 or 6 just in case.
Yeah, exactly. It's so much speculation without any clear direction that you're sort of just working in the dark, and you're just so motivated by the fact that this should be such an important moment that it seemed like even though people like yourself were working in the dark with an idea of what you thought would happen, and then for it not to be what you thought would happen based on what they did previously was just kind of a kick to the nuts. Let's see what else we got here. Need a good drop. Yeah, we need to give him a good drop. We need like a good luck drop.
What did you think about how they did not the distribution of cereals, but the distribution of the moment itself in terms of the top 25 and then the opportunity for other people to get in and then the rest in hot packs?
Yeah, I thought the hot packs was definitely I thought that was too many people to be able to get it through hot packs because you're creating just like a raffle. You're selling raffle tickets, and we basically what you were saying about sort of stabilizing this economy. This is like a drum we've been banging forever, which is like selling more and more and more and more packs, and people can't help themselves because they think they have a chance at this moment, even though literally their chance is like 0.03%. Meanwhile, you're selling tons and tons and tons and tons of shrapnel. That to me, that's a negative. You're going to get like a lot of people unhappy with these packs and these moments that they can't even get rid of, even if they wanted to, if you don't have really good trade ticket utility. And also, it didn't really make sense based on the language that was given to the community previously about, this is going to be rewarding. This is all about like locking and intrinsic rewards and giving back to our most devoted collectors. But then you make it like a raffle where 60 people can just get it through a raffle, and that just didn't feel congruent. So I didn't like that. I would have been okay if it was like maybe 20% of the collection could potentially be won in a raffle, or maybe even less. Even if it was just like, remember when they did the Magic Johnson ones? I think they gave out like 2 or 3 of them in the packs, and that was it. And I think that would have been a better look, because what you're going to get is you're going to get people who buy, one $9 pack, and all of a sudden they've got like a $10,000 LeBron James in their account, and that doesn't align. They're probably not going to hold on to it if that's something that you want to encourage. I don't think this platform should be like a gambling, raffling platform at its core. So that's my answer. I don't really like the way they did it.
And I'm trying to think if I should comment first or ask question. Let me ask a question first.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear your thoughts. What would you have done instead?
What would I have done instead? Oh, I guess what I just mentioned. I would have given a few of them in the hot packs, like maybe 5 max. And if we're asking about like cereals though, I don't know honestly how much I love this idea of like what they did before, where it's like, if you're in this position, you get a confirmed cereal, and if you're in that position, you get a random cereal. Maybe that is good because it creates like a battle up at the top, as long as those people at the top are relatively close to each other. Because I know that there have been examples of this for the other events where like somebody like yourself or Alexo or whoever was so far ahead that it didn't add any like fireworks to the scenario. It was just yeah, okay, Alexo's going, okay, we get it. So yeah, I would probably have given the opportunity to have maybe 5 of them in these packs and the rest of them go to the leaderboards. And maybe there would be other versions of that where people could get rewarded. Maybe it's like the LeBron James collector, it's the Lakers collector. I don't know. I'm sure there's other ideas we could do here. But just because I think what ends up happening is you sell 200,000 hot packs, and like 99.9% of those packs are just not a great user experience. So that's the part that I kind of would like to get away from. Of course, it's like a catch-22 because they have to raise the money. It's tricky, man. It's very tricky. I don't have the perfect answer there. I just have my own like belly button answer, which is I just want this market to stabilize. I want this community to be happy. And I want sort of more predictable comms like you were talking about, and a little bit less of that like raffle element.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I keep getting notifications that my mic is unplugged. I think my USB ports are a little screwed up, but I think right now I'm using the mic on my camera by accident, which is interesting. You can hear me okay though?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
All right, this is new. Boston based, get out of here. So I'll keep my thoughts kind of short on this. I've been rambling enough, but I think my biggest take in terms of how they distribute things at all, really in general, is that they should avoid steep cliffs and basically do their best to ensure that people who are ranked higher are in better position in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
What I didn't love about this is that someone who's, let's call it number 50 on the LeBron leaderboard, who's realistically doesn't have a shot at top 25, but is super high ranking, is in the exact same position as someone who joined yesterday, for
Yeah.
example, to get access to this. And to me, that's just like it hurts people a lot in the same way that the dynamic duos, anything that takes away from someone else. It's like a lot of things are zero sum in Top Shot world. In dynamic duos, there's 750 serials. If you pull away 1, 2, and 3 to reward someone, you're really pulling that away from numbers 4 through 750. You're not creating value and distributing that value. And so in this case, by making more of these available to gateless users, like brand new users, whatever else it is, you are pulling that away from number 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. And so what I think is a lot better is there's a lot of different ways you can cut this, but one thing they could have done is say, like, okay, top 25, you automatically get an airdrop. We recognize for 26 to 100, let's say this sucks. So what we're going to do is we're going to set aside another 10 to put into a drawing that's randomly given to those finishers, and then we're going to set aside another 10 that are given to 101 to 1,000 or something, and then the rest of them go into hot packs, something like that. Or the even better version of this is probably what Veerman always suggests, which is weight leaderboard position. So like number 1 has a 35% chance of getting one of these. Number 2 has a 34% chance, whatever it is, and all the way down to number 1,000, and then just lottery them basically, and that's fine. And like, would it suck if I didn't get one at number 1? Like, I guess, but like if I knew this was how it works and I chose to be number 1 on that basis, like it was a risk that I took knowing what the stakes were. So I think there are a lot of better ways for them to do that, and avoiding steep cliffs is the biggest thing. You don't want the person who's number 26 twice, for example, Ralph, someone mentioned him in the chat.
Yeah, remember that.
Like completely feel like they were kicked in the nuts, like repeatedly over and over again twice.
Yeah, we should do the ping pong ball example. We should have Adam Silver walk up there. We got the weighted ping pong balls.
Oh yeah.
The Knicks
I was
fans.
thinking of suggesting to Roham that they could do the Patrick Ewing cold Knicks thing that that Stern did back in the day for the number 1 LeBron here. But Roham's probably not particularly happy with me, which is probably why I don't have number 1 in the first place.
I don't. I
don't actually think that, but like. What's bad is that you can't actually rule that out. Like they're sitting around a conference table saying, how should we distribute this? Anything that deviates away from what they did for dynamic duos has a direct negative impact on known people. Not like whoever finishes 1 to 3 gets hurt by this. It's exact people. It's, I don't know, myself, Ding, and Alzo, I think.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what they say. I mean, nothing's really going to completely make someone like yourself feel better about it, unless you rip that number 1, of course. That would be so controversial. Everyone would think that they just gave it to me. There's no good outcome here. I know. There really isn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let me see if I get anything else here I wanted to talk about today. Yeah, we talked about the lawsuit. We talked about the document. We talked about the layoffs. That was a shame. And I was going to talk about some like random NBA stuff, but I'm almost like at an hour, so I'll probably just do that some other time. But what do you say, MBL? What else you got? You got anything else on your mind, or have you decided if you do or you don't want to rip that pack? What are you thinking?
I'll rip the pack. I'm going to rip the pack because I think that was a very nice way for you to ask that. No pressure put on at all, so I will do it. I will respect the way you asked it. It's in a pack. How am I even getting this?
I mean, that's a good question. I don't know if it was airdropped to you.
It's a pack. Yeah, it's here.
It's a pack. Oh boy! All right, hold on. We need to give MBL some good vibes here. We have our old pack ripping opener. Let's do that one. You got the cotton candy rush girl. She's gonna be here to help you out. All right, you know how to share screen?
Yes, I know. Share screen, and yes, PPE. I know how packs work, but I didn't know if it would be delivered in a pack or not.
Exactly. I didn't know
Okay.
either. I thought that could just appear in your account like they did before when you traded in your moments.
All right. Share this.
All right, here we go. Oh, brother. There it is. That's a nice looking pack.
It is a nice looking pack. All right. Is everyone ready? Do you want to, Tandy, do you want to like shill anything? Maybe people will watch this. Get into being a number one on
That's
replay.
true.
This could be a big thing.
This could be a big moment. Here we are with MBL. This is the number one position. He wrote the thread. He wasn't particularly happy with how they decided to release these serials, but here we are together as friends on Tandy Time, giving good vibes only. We got you in the chat. We got Boston Base, who's literally shaking. Let's see, what do I have to shill? We're going to start doing some playback shows, playback.tv/Tandy Time. Make sure you go and check it out. Let's
Check
see.
out Tandy. Watch Tandy. Tandy's one of the great voices in the community. Hate him or love him. He speaks his mind. He speaks the truth.
There you go. I try to keep it fair. We put the playback TV link in there. So give Mike some good luck by clicking that link. And yeah, we hope Mike gets a good serial here.
Thank you very much. And buy and sell Top Shot moments on Floaty. Go.
That's true.
There we go.
Got to give Floaty.
I'll
Got to give
shill a little
Floaty the
bit.
shout out. Floaty.io.
For you.
What else we need more things to shill here. I feel like we should be shilling a lot of things, but Floaty.io, check it out.
I could chill Floaty all day. All right. Shall we do it?
All right. I know. I'm nervous for you.
Is number 6 gone? Is that real?
Is it? I don't know. This is like we got to be looking at stuff in live action. Where do we go to? Like the live token Twitter account? Will that tell us what's going on?
I'm just gonna do it. Here we go.
All right, here we go.
Thank you to everyone who's here watching. I don't even know what day it is. On a Thursday?
It's on a Thursday.
Should I record the pack opening? Nah.
Well, it'll be recorded here if you ever want to see it again.
All right. Come on.
Let's go.
This could be one of the more controversial moments in history. If it's a number one, did Top Shot put it there? Did they not?
Oh boy, the anticipation is killing me. For you, man, or number 1 or number 6. Well, I appreciate that you opened it though.
Of course.
That's very kind.
I did not expect a number 1 or number 6 for the record. I understand the likelihood of that.
Oh man. All right. Well, yeah, we definitely wanted. Yeah, it's true. It had a number 1 in it, but unfortunately, how many rings? Does he have 4 rings?
4, yeah.
Can we somehow turn this into those guys? Justin on OTM, he's always like making up random explanations of serials. But anyhow, yeah, we wanted that number 1, but it's a number 14. But you're still a winner, Mike.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It does have a number 1 in it.
Exactly. Just do this over the side of the screen, and you're good. All right. Well, I feel like that was the top of the mountain right there in terms of content. Check out floaty.io. Is there anything else you wanna? I feel like you probably don't feel like talking about anything else at this point. You probably want to just.
No, I'm fine. This was the expected outcome. I'm fine.
All right.
My comments would have stood regardless of the serial here. Yeah. If anyone wants to, LeBron changing his jersey next season to 14.
It's possible.
Yeah, if anyone wants to talk shop about this, get into the thread. I'm happy to discuss with anyone. Hopefully, the message is received that I think Dapper should be consistent and that they should set rules to allow people to make informed decisions, and that there's a lot of money, a lot of emotions at stake here, and they should take that seriously, and that it wasn't a wow, I didn't get gifted number one, though that would have been nicer for me personally.
That would have been
of course.
nicer. You got any NBA takes, Mike?
NBA takes. I guess the question is, are the Suns the prohibitive favorite now? Can, I don't know, Boston, Milwaukee, Denver keep up with them? And I think probably if I have to pick one team, I would pick the Suns right now.
Interesting.
I think Chris Paul's smart enough, Booker's kind of dynamic enough that they can make it work over a 25-game period to get ready for the playoffs.
Right.
And I mean, KD is just a menace out there, and everyone else has their issues. Denver's a little hurt. Boston, I mean, I guess Boston doesn't have strict issues, but it's a tough matchup for anyone with KD, Booker, and then they've still got Ayton hanging around. Obviously, CP3. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Knicks. I think Hart, I didn't expect much from Hart, but he's been pretty good in his first few games. Barrett is sort of a mess. I like Barrett. I think he's fun. He's still young, but he is a mess out there. He's shooting like crap. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Knicks. I mean, the Nets got materially worse, obviously. So then the Knicks past the Nets and maybe slide into number 5.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe sneak into number 5, maybe sneak into the second round, but like not much more than that.
Most likely, I would expect that from the Knicks and the Nets, that they aren't going to make much noise. And I think that the Celtics or the Bucks are the team to beat. Obviously, I'm a bit of a homer. I think the Celtics are the team to beat. I think the Suns, we got to see if they can gel together. Is 25 games enough for Durant to really understand the system and gel in there. People are asking if you're going to lock or sell. Obviously, you're not going to burn that moment of LeBron.
Should I?
Are you going to burn it?
I don't know what to do.
All right, so that's not a no. Mike might be burning the LeBron moment. We'll see.
I mean, I hadn't thought of it, but the chat brings up a good point.
They're very suggestible. You hang here long enough, you don't know what you'll be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what else? Someone asked about the mismint, Donovan Mitchell.
Did they say something about that?
I see Mick Beeman.
Okay. What do you think of the mismint? It's pretty valuable. I'm happy I didn't burn mine. So yeah, that was interesting. That was an interesting little story for Floaty. The fact that someone was able to sell it right away. The serial number 2 sold for $777 on Floaty before Top Shot communicated what was going to happen with that moment. So that was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't where I was going to head with it, but I think what people are learning is that the blockchain itself is really, really powerful. Once a moment is in your hands, they can't reach into your account and lock it. The only way the locking actually happens in your account is if you select a moment, click lock, and then sign a blockchain transaction saying, I want to lock this. I'm choosing to lock this. They can't say you aren't able to sell this. That's realistically something that's done on the front end or in terms of restricting what you can actually do on their website. But from a blockchain perspective, it can still be transferred, which is it can be transferred within the Dapper Wallet ecosystem. They do have control of withdrawing assets from Dapper Wallet to non-Dapper wallets, which has been frustrating for us as Floaty at times. But we had another example when they released the MGLE packs as S4, and they said these aren't sellable on the market until 4 days from now. They were able to be sold on Floaty, and some people may say that's bad, but realistically, that's just how the blockchain works. Our alternative would be to circumvent how our contract functions and prevent sales of that specific asset, which is very centralized and non-Web3. Someone owns it; it's theirs. They can sell it. That's it. That's the beginning and the end of it. Anyway, with regard to the actual moment, I think it was a good solution to the issue. I'm not one of those who says Top Shot needs to be above any possible mechanical issues. It's going to happen. They'll have mismints like this. It shouldn't happen as often probably as it does, but it'll happen. I think how they respond to it is important. And this was a pretty interesting solution where it preserved John Wall being a meaningful bottleneck, which is what the market had been working under the assumption for a while, which is important. It allowed people who had the mismatch to switch into kind of a normal asset if they wanted, or to keep this sort of unique asset. And then I like that they poked fun at themselves by having those kind of error messages.
Yeah.
If you saw that.
Yeah, I really like that. That reminded me back of my childhood on like the Windows PCs, just always breaking them. I actually really like the artwork.
Yeah, exactly. And so I thought that was a good solution. I thought it was pretty interesting. It was kind of making lemonade out of lemons. And so I definitely liked how they handled that. And I think the error moment itself is pretty cool. I hope that they don't have a situation like this again, because then it'll feel like that the current mismint moment is less meaningful if it happens 3 times a year for the next 10 years. But it's pretty cool.
I actually have a random question for you, MBL. I don't know if you pay attention to the physical card market, but do you? I remember listening to a podcast of yours. I think.
My answer is no, but I have like a few around. Like
there you go. Look at that.
A little
It's
Jordan.
All right. Do you get any of those ones with the little jersey patches in them? Those are my favorite.
This has a little bit of jersey in it. It's not graded. I think I paid like $60 just at a card show.
Oh, nice.
So it's interesting. Like I collected some cards growing up, but like nothing serious. Bought a bunch of like $4 packs when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything serious. I don't even know if there's anything valuable. Like I've got actually the binder in my basement at my house. So I'll go through that at some point. But although every day that goes by that I don't go through that, it makes me more bullish on NFTs. I'm like, this is just such a pain in the ass. I can't even look at
I
my
know.
collection.
Imagine now having to list it and get it graded and sell it, and then people can say you didn't send it correctly, and they can like strike your account on eBay, and there's all types of things that can go wrong. Whereas on Top Shot or NFTs, it's literally instant. That's the nice thing, isn't it? So
So in terms of cards, but since I got into Top Shot, I've actually gone to a few card shows because I'm just like more interested in the space overall. In terms of like, I buy. This would be fun if anyone in the chat knows about this, or you. Do you know what MLB Showdown is?
The video game or that NFT, or is that the NFT?
No, it's these cards that were manufactured and distributed from I think 2000 to 2005, and they basically had but depending on the player, they had different attributes, and it allowed you to play out a 9-inning game on a board. And so the very, very basic functionality is that pitchers have you get a 20-sided die, and pitchers have 20 outcomes on their little board, and hitters have 20 outcomes on their board. And the way you determine whose board to look at is by rolling the die one time, adding the pitcher's what they call control number, and then the total of that, the die plus the pitcher's control number, has to be higher than the batter's I think on base number. And then if the batter wins that initial toss, the pitch, they roll, and it's based on their outcomes. If the pitcher does, then the pitcher rolls, and it's based on their menu of outcomes. And you play out a whole like 9-inning game. And so they stopped making them in 2005. But a friend and I, we buy like booster boxes of like 36 packs from like 2004. Like you can get them for like, I don't know, like $200 or something like that. And so we buy it and we rip like a few packs at a time, play out a game with those cards, drink a bottle of scotch or whatever, and have a good time with that. And then with that same friend, we go around to baseball games each year and get a bobblehead. So we try and target around a bobblehead game and go to a new stadium. And so I definitely like collecting as a concept. My sports card collection is nothing to write home about, though.
Okay. That's interesting. You're getting into like the mind of a collector. When I talked to Joey Batts, he went on about that. It was actually kind of interesting. He went all the way back to the times of like collecting shells, and we went down the rabbit hole. For me personally, yeah, I collected as a kid. I collected basketball cards and baseball cards, and my mom mixed my box of cards with my brother's cards, and then sent them all to my brother. And so yeah, that's a bit of a. I wish those were NFTs. Like that would have made my life easier.
You guys need to have a draft. Just you get first pick, and you pick. Yeah,
I know. And of course, now he doesn't remember anything. I'm like, oh yeah, that Michael Jordan. He's like, oh, that might have been mine. I don't. All right. Jeez. But yeah, that's pretty much the only thing I collected. Other than that, like obviously I played video games, things like that, but never really collected anything else up until like this NFT stuff.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Go.
Oh, I was just gonna see if anyone else had any last questions for MBL while we have him here. By the way, MBL, are you still doing your pod with Jack and Andy and them?
So we sort of went a little quieter because Overzet had a kid, and
Okay.
it's popped back on probably 2 or 3 times since then. So that was a few months back.
Okay.
I have tennis conflict that night now on Tuesday nights, so it's not that easy for me to make it. And also, not necessarily New Year's resolution, just like life resolution. It was like a pretty manic 2 years of NFTs, and like it continues to be manic, but I'm trying to manage my time and schedule a little bit better because I don't know, I've probably aged 35 years in the last 2 years. And so generally optional sorts of things I'm trying to do a little bit less of. But obviously I want to, like, it's fun, I enjoy doing it, but like, yeah, recurring weekly 9 to 11 p.m. on Tuesdays is a hard bargain. So I haven't jumped back on myself. I definitely will at some point in the future, but I probably won't be a recurring guest there.
Got it. Is it still manic? I'm surprised you said it was still manic. Is it still manic because you're running Floaty?
Yeah. Lots going on at Floaty. And I mean, everyone always like scoffs at this, but to me, the challenges feel like exhausting. The challenge is because I have a large collection and I have like pretty large stacks of some assets. If like the right sequence of stuff happens, it's like suddenly a very significant financial situation for me to like make sure I take the right actions on it. And so like, it's pretty tiring to like 3 or 4 times a week have to like check in on Top Shot challenges and like make sure that I'm doing the right stuff to like actually take advantage of these challenges. And like, I mean, you could skip it theoretically, but like it could cost you like, I don't know, lots and lots of money to skip it if the right kind of stuff happens. And so like that stuff just takes a lot of time. Then Floaty itself takes up a lot of time, and yeah, just like general NFTs, I still poke around other NFTs. It's all kind of manic.
Yeah.
You do not feel manic?
I feel less manic now. I mean, I've shared the story a lot in the past, but when I joined Top Shot at like, early February 2021, I would never felt that way in my life, and it was incredibly unhealthy. It was like I couldn't leave my screen, and that whole year actually with general NFTs too, you couldn't leave your computer or your phone for more than like an hour because all of a sudden there'd be like a random mint. I remember once I was out at like a hotel with my family, and they announced, I think Roham even actually tweeted about those like monkeys, those on-chain monkeys, or whatever they're called.
Sorry, can I pause you for a second? Did Liberary actually pull the jersey serial of LeBron?
I don't know.
He also pulled the LeBron Hollow Challenge jersey serial and the Ja Morant Challenge Hollow serial in Series 1, which were the 2 best challenge awards.
I don't know.
If it's Veerman, that'd be great.
Yeah, I don't know. How do we see that? Where is live token? Shouldn't this be easier? There. If I load Library, it's probably going to take me like 30 minutes because of all the stuff that he has. But I can try to load it up in tech.
I mean, I could just go to his account.
Okay. See who gets there first. Let's see. Yeah, 33 million Top Shot score. That's going to take a while to load.
I mean, that is. I was going to mention that on the pod, saying, "No, I can't pull the jersey. That's going to Library," and apparently that's a real thing.
Wow. All right. Well, take that for how you want to take it, but Library has the serial. It looks like Boston Base is your source.
All right, so
Hashtag
3 for 3 on the top 3 randomized serials ever in Top Shot history.
Right. Wow, must be nice.
Must be nice.
All right, well, oh, here's a little tip for you, actually, Mike. I don't know if you ever get like a tennis arm here on like the side.
Tennis elbow?
Yeah.
I've been fortunate to avoid it so far, but I want to take preventive measures, so hit me.
So this is something called a rubs ball. It's actually meant to. I actually brought this on when I used to travel a lot and walk a lot. My feet would get tired, and you roll this on your feet, and it's like a hard rubber ball with like little rubber spikes coming out of it. Anyways, you rub that. It's like myofascial. That's what it's called. Myofascial massage. So when I get that kind of pain in my arm, because I also play a game similar to tennis, I play a game called paddle, which is like very popular in Argentina and Spain and in Portugal and other places. And you just kind of rub it in circles around that area that hurts. And so there you go. If you ever feel a little bit of a tweak, you just kind of rub the myofascial thing in there.
Is that paddle like padel? Do some people call
Yeah,
it
they call it padel.
Okay.
I'm definitely anti-padel. I'm pro paddle.
I've never actually played it. I've like seen it on YouTube before. But one of the guys I play tennis with, he says I volley like someone who plays padel, which I don't think is like necessarily a good thing. But that's what he always says. I'm like, I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either. But in paddle, it's a very much like a firm continental grip. You don't really move your grip at all, and it's not like tennis where you're flicking the wrist a whole lot. It's more of just like straight motions. So maybe he's talking about the straight trajectory of your volley, perhaps.
Right. It's sort of like pickleball meets squash, right?
Yeah, but pickleball to me is weak. Pickleball's weak. I'm not a fan of pickleball. I have a feeling, by the way, that might be one of those IPs. We might see Dapper Pickleball coming up. If we've got cricket, I don't see why we could definitely have pickleball.
I guess, right? Why not?
I guess we kind of hope it's pickleball, because then if it's something that sort of crashes and burns, then people won't all think that that's where the money's to be made. I don't know if like people are doing that on cricket or what the market cap on cricket or even UFC is, but here we go. Green Curry. We're diving deep now into the tangentials. He says, I'm a doctor of physical therapy. There's something called a side glide MWM mobilization that helps the most for tennis elbow. Hit me up if you want to know how to do it. So there you go. Green_Curry. There you go. And Jules has a radial nerve entrapment. I feel like we're really getting deep in here. A radial nerve entrapment. That sounds painful, Jules. I'm sorry. And he's also a physical therapist. So there you go. We started with the LeBron pack and we're ending with some physical therapy. That's all I got. You know, I actually saw Library though. He was here for a little bit. I had a walk and talk with him. He had some things to say. He had some things to say about Dapper. He wasn't particularly happy at the time, but
I chat with Library a lot.
Yeah, but I'm guessing he's feeling a little happier right now.
Oh, in terms of RNG fortune, unmatched,
yeah, exactly,
unparalleled.
Alexo also though had very good RNG fortune in the beginning, right?
Yeah. Yep.
He had like every number one.
He was number one Luca Cosmic, number one Zion Cosmic. You got a lot of challenge reward number ones, but it takes one LeBron hollow jersey in Series 1 to account for all of that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Mike.
We're good.
Yeah, we could keep going, but I've got my wife complaining that I got to go help. So that's how this works nowadays with the baby. That's how I know when it's time to end the stream. Anyway, I wish we could have pulled that number one maybe next time. And go take care of yourself. Don't get manic. Take some walks out in nature. Clear the head. Just play tennis, and be a happy MBL.
Thank you for having me on, and congrats on the kid. I heard Mike make a comment about that. Wasn't sure, but now you've confirmed it. So congratulations. Enjoy it, and all the power to you for not looking like an exhausted, like crazed human right now. Very impressive.
I don't know. I'm not sure how I'm doing that right now, because that's definitely how I feel inside. But thank you. I appreciate that.
All right.
Well, that's MBL. Check him out. Go to floaty.io and check him out on Twitter. And I'm sure he'll have some things to say in the near future. So take care, MBL. Thank you. All right. So there we go, guys. That's the show. I got to go help out with the baby. That's my time. I did have a new clip though. Someone asked me for the Who Snoop clip. So here it is.
Who?
And with that, I bid you adieu, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.
Static Selector.